Hey guys, gathering the magic back again, and it's time for part 2 of the Card Market Watch for December 7th, 2025. So we're going to do a deep dive into the card market, and this week we're going to pay particular attention to Chaos Legion, and especially the max level cards, just to kind of show the impact that Cinder has had on the market this week. So starting as we always do with Alpha. So here are the Alpha Commons. So cheapest you can see, 21 cents. Up to 801 for the Flesh Golem. Wow, Matt really did buy them all out, did he? Let's make sure he's not selling any. Nope, he's not selling any. Cheapest one is $8.01 for a level 5. And then it's single BCX for $9.99. Okay, so there's your Alpha Commons. Moving to the rares. So now you're getting very close to $2 for the cheapest Alpha Rare. Up to $15 for Frozen Soldier. Epics start at $4, up to $47.11 for Naga Warrior. And that is for a level 3. And then finally, your legendary cards. So you can see here only 8 of the 9 legendary cards are for sale. I don't see a Lord of Darkness. I think that's the one that's missing. And you can see the prices here go from $50 up to a max level copy for over $3,000. So those are your Alpha Legendary cards. Now let's move to the gold foils. So cheapest gold foil, I mentioned this in part 1. There is a Skeleton Assassin gold foil for 10. Then after that it jumps to 20, 21, and then quickly getting close to 40 and above. So there are your gold foil Alpha Commons. Next, the rares. Rares, look at this. 1 at 35, but then it jumps to 80 for these 3, and then after that 119. So this one seems very, very underpriced at $35. And then the most expensive is a Haunted Spirit at just under $500. You can see almost all of these are just 1 or 2 copies. Okay, your epics are next. $185 for Mischievous Mermaid, up to $1,200 for Swamp Thing. And then finally your legendaries. There are 5 legendary cards for sale. There's a Lord of Darkness, gold for $900, $2,000 for Angel of Light, $7,500 for Selenia Sky, and then $11,000 for Spirit of the Forest and the Gold Dragon. Okay, and then your promo cards for Alpha. And this is it. These are the only Alpha promo cards. So there's a regular foil Dragon Whelp, $625, regular foil Neb Seni Rare for $250, and then the gold for $360. And that is it for Alpha. Okay, move on to Beta, Core and Reward cards. Commons start at 4 cents. And then quickly move to 60 cents. And let's just, out of curiosity, how many max levels are there? So your max level beta cards for commons, you're looking at right around $28, $29 are the cheapest, but then quickly goes to $45, $50. And this is it, guys. Out of the entire list of commons, there's only 12 max level beta commons on the market. Okay, next for your rares, starting at 21 cents. All the way up to $1.49 for the Undead Priest and Ulrich. If we look at max level copies, you have a total of 15 cards, ranging from $29 to $120 for Mushroom Seer. Okay, moving on to Beta Epics. Start at 74.80 cents is the floor, up to $10.35 for the Swamp Thing. And then your max level epics, You have a total of 9 cards, ranging from 5713 to 180. And then finally your legendaries from beta, starting at $4.29 with Spirit Miner, up to $35 for Voldemort. Look at this, Prince running at 12. That seems really low. But how many max levels are there? Max level copies are a total of 13 cards, ranging from $50 up to $346.50 for Voldemort. Okay, now let's look at gold foil. Gold foil commons, floor is still right around $2. Up to $34.99 for the Haunted Spider. And are there any max level golds from beta? There are 6. 89 to basically 150. Moving to your rare gold foils, now you're starting to hit right around $10. All the way up to Mushroom Seer at $111.69. And how many max gold are there? 1. 1 max gold rare from beta for $365.38. It's the only one. Okay, next are gold epics from beta. So now we're looking at $44, $45, $50 for the floor. And this is it. These are all the epics, up to $145 for Manticore. Max level gold epics, none. And then finally your gold legendaries from beta, $188 for Spirit Miner. Up to $3,500 for Voldemort. Max level golds, there are actually 6. $1,500 for Hydra, $2,200 Fallen Spectre, $2,500 Ruler of the Seas, $3,000 Peak Rider, and then $3,500 for Voldemort and Prince Renan. Okay, let's look at the promo cards now from beta. So these are all the different promo cards. We went through the prices in part 1. So just kind of want to show you guys how many are on the market. Okay, next let's move to Essence Orb. Start with the commons. Those aren't orb. Let's wait for the correct picture. Don't remember the Armor Smith looking like that. There we go. 6 to 30 cents. Your rares, 22 to 35. Your epics, $1 for the Mermaid Healer, $1.22 for the Dwarven Wizard. And legendary. Okay, earlier today there wasn't a regular foil Lord of Fire. Now there is one listed at $20.05. So this one is usually in the $5 to $6 range. So I'm not sure if that will sell. Are there any max level legendary cards? Just one, Corrupted Pegasus for 82. And then let's look at the gold versions. So commons, 294 to 6. 10 to 11 for the rares. 43, 88, and 46 for the epics. And 300 to 1,000 for the legendaries. All right. Next is Untamed. Look at the core and reward. Look at the commons. So starting at 1 to 2 cents. Up to 31 cents for Feasting Seaweed. Okay, Untamed Commons, max level. So starting at 634, 639, all the way up to $66 for Cave Slug. So if you look how many are available on the market, a lot of these are 1. There's 5 for the Flame Monkey, 6 for Phantasm. but most of these max level cards, there's only 1 or 2 available on the market. So not very many. Okay, let's move next to the rares. So rares start at 5 cents. Up to $1.50 for Ice Pixie. Yep, this is the card we talked about on 101. Boba Fett was he did finally max out his Ice Pixie. So there's 3 copies now that are under $2. But are there any max level Ice Pixies out there? So max level rare, cheapest is $7.25 for Phineas Rage. There is a max level Ice Pixie for $47. Most expensive, Elven Mystic at $50. Okay. Now for the epics, 25 cents. Cheapest epic for Untamed. Up to $1.06 for Lobstradamus. Max level. Looking at $12.23, $13.50. Up to $55 for Shadowy Presence. That is the only one. Oh wait, there's one down there. The Chief for $100. Okay, and then finally, the legendaries. So your Untamed legendaries start at $1.43, $1.44. All up to Kitty at $26.45, Jodin at $26, Llama $13.25, Kron $7.94. So how many max level cards are there for Untamed? So Max Kitty for $3.68, Jodin for a little over $2.50, Llama over $1.30, Max Kron at $100. So those are your max level cards. Okay, now let's look at the gold foil. Gold foil Untamed starting at 64 cents. Up to $6.25 for Albatross. Albatross? Is that part of a Monty Python skit? Okay, rares start at $2.58. Up to $19.75 for Living Lava. Let's look at max level. So there's 3. Oh, did we look at the commons for max level? Let's go back to the commons real quick. So max level commons, there are 5 different cards available, 1 of each. Yep, there is Albatross, $200, most expensive. Okay, so now let's go back to the epics. So your gold epics start at just under $14. Up to $95 for Hero of Beyond. Max level version, there's 1. Goblin Fire Mage, there's 2 of them at $200. And then finally legendaries. Gold legendary, $80 for Diamond Dragon, he is the cheapest. Up to $700 for Almo Cambio. Max level golds for Untamed. So there is a max gold kitty for $1,500, Almo for $2,000, Llama for $1,000, Jodin for $1,000, Kron for $900. Okay, looking at promo. So your promo cards, we went through these in part 1. So even though the pictures aren't right, you can see Halfling Alchemist 68 cents, Chain Golem $8.77. There we go. Halfling Alchemist $28.88, and Mighty Dricken $479.81. Okay, now let's go to dice. Dice commons 2 to 5 cents. Not sure if there's really any max levels. Oh, there actually are 4. $10 to $25. And then next the rares, which are the Archons, 9 to 82 cents. And then max level Archons are 4, So 15 for Vera, 20 for Ouster, and then look at the price jump. 111 for Bright and Bloom and 113.74 for Mylor. And only one of each on the market at max level. Okay, Epics, 34 to 45 cents. And there is actually a max level of each. 1650, 1990, and 3142. Okay, next are your legendaries. So 203 for Lens Master, up to 1695 for Epona. Max level, there are 4, ranging from $40 to $100 for Two Gun Pete. Okay, and then the gold foils, 70 cents to 375. Max level, only 2 cards, Battering Ram for $39.99, Naga Brute for $47. Okay, your rare Archons, $3.19 up to $17.95 for Lorna Shine. Is there any max level Archons gold? There are. Oster for $77, Bright and Bloom for $84, Lorna Shine $119, and Mylor for $219. Gold Epics. There's those 2. 1 max level, Grenadier for $190. And then finally your gold legendaries, $90 up to $330. No max level though. Okay, after Untamed, now here we go. Chaos Legion. So this is what I wanted to get to. This is where I've seen the most movement. I'm sure you guys have as well with Cinder. So regular foil Chaos Legion commons, we all know, are basically a penny. You know, 2 cents for the Psychic, 3 cents for Deep Lurker and Scavo. But how many max levels do we have and what price? So now look at this. Max commons are above $3.10. Before we were sitting at what? Once in a while you get some 220, 240. So the floor has definitely moved way up on these above $3. You can see some of these are under 10 copies available. So this is the core and the reward cards that were sellable. Pelcor Bandit, for ages that was what, 240, 250. Now that's at 360. All the way up to the most expensive max common, 1176 for Scavo Hireling. Okay, now let's move to the rares, where the floor has moved up from 2 cents to 3. Doesn't sound like a big deal, but it does when you get to a max level card. So 3 cents is the floor now, up to 8 cents for Kelia. And how many max copies are left? Once again, there's 1 copy at 312, then we jump to 325 plus for a max rare. All the way up to Kelia is the most expensive. Look at this, guys, a max Kelia for $8.34. Remember when this was $3 or $4 a piece? $8.34 for a max Kelia. All right. Next are the Epics. Floor of the Epics has moved up as well. The floor for Epics had been 9-10 cents. Now the cheapest is 13. So the high end has not gone up much. You can see the most expensive is only 19. But we've just got a very, very tight range now in price for a lot of these cards. Max level. So now you're looking at $6 plus for a max level Epic from Chaos Legion. Most expensive Revealer at $9.19. And this is for regular foil. And then finally the legendaries. Legendaries, I've talked about it a lot, where, are we going to hit that 50 cents floor or stay right at 50 cents? Now you can see we're very close to 70 cents for the floor for legendary cards from Chaos Legion. But the upper end has not gone up. Here's Possibilis at $2.75. Earlier today, the most expensive one was $1.90. I believe it was Lily Shieldpaw. So you've got one card, one legendary card above $1.75 in Chaos Legion. But overall, the card's still under $1 for the most part. And now max level, how many max level copies are left? So now you're looking at 738 plus for a max legendary card. Look at some of these, two single copies here. So there are a few where, like Adelaide, there's 13, but then some of them there's just 3, 5, 1. So not very many max copies. The Summoner Archons are the most expensive for the most part, but still $10 to $20 for a max Archon from Chaos Legion. Okay, so now the real fun, the golds. So let's look at the gold commons. Floor had been 12-13 cents, I believe 2 weeks ago. Now we're looking at 17-18 cents is your cheapest gold common. All the way up to 38 cents for the Harvester. And then your max level commons. Now for a long time, the cheapest ones have been in the $4.50 to $6 range. Look at it now, $6.60, and then it quickly jumps to $8 plus for a max gold common. Pelacor Bandit, you know, the one that there was tons of. Your cheapest one right now is $10.32. So you've got one at $10.32, one at $10.50, and then quickly it jumps to $22 plus. Let's see how many of the Conjurer there are. So there's one at $6.60, then it jumps to $9, then $11, then $13, then $18. So very quickly it jumps above $10. The Deceiver at $8, then $9, then $22. Disintegrator, $8, $9, then $28. Riftwing, $9. Several more here under $10 and then $25. So as you can see, Mercenary, there's another one there was tons of. $9.20, then $11.80, then it doubles to $18 and then $23 plus. So not very many affordable, I would say, max gold commons left. So hope you guys have been picking them up over the last few months. Okay, your rares. So now your rares, the floor for the gold foils is 72.75 cents. All the way up to most expensive is $1.50 for the Djinn Apprentice. Max level rares. That's it. See how the list just shrunk down? Now you've got 10 different cards. That's it for max level, ranging from 1925, one copy of the Infiltrator, up to 4 copies of Kelia, starting at $36.45. So this is it for max gold rares. This is your entire market. And then my favorite rarity for land, the Epics. So the overall price looks pretty much the same as where it's been, you know, just under $4 for the cheapest, and then right around $7. So 4 to 7 has kind of been that range for gold Epics. But when you look at the max level ones available for sale, now you're down to just 5 different cards. And a couple days ago, this was 3. But look, there's only a single copy of Magi of Chaos, 1 Tidebiter, 1 Igor. Then you've got 3 Uraeus and 3 Constructs. So I would say these are the best, but Wibble has restricted me from saying anymore, so I won't. And let's go now to the legendaries. So your legendary, cheapest, $23.76. Then the legendaries quickly go $25 plus for the gold foil. All the way up to $88 for Countess Sinesh. Max level golds, 3. Okay, Chaos Legion is so overproduced. There's so much of it out there. There are a total of 4 cards available. 1 Vol, 1 Possibilis, 2 Yasiks. Max gold foil Chaos. That is your entire market. Okay, so that's it for the core and reward cards. Let's look at let's go to promos next. So we talked about all these in part 1. So just so you guys can kind of see, let's break it down by foil type. So these are all your regular foils. You can see how many are currently on the market. And then the gold foil versions. Regular foil, max level. So there are some max level. Of course, these two are automatically maxed. There are your max level copies. And then for your gold foils, there are your max gold foil copies from Chaos Legion. Okay, let's look next at the reward cards. So reward cards go 4 to 10 cents. Rares 20 to 64. Epics 86 to $10. And your legendaries 5.59 to 14.95. And then the gold versions 81 cents to 2.41 for the commons. $3.30 to $33 for the rare. 25 to 65 for the epics. And then 64.80 to 97.50 for the legendaries. Okay, let's go to Rift Watchers. So Rift Watchers 1 to 7 cents. How many max level for Rift Watcher commons? 3.14 is the cheapest, up to, look at this, $33 for a max common. Okay, next are the rares, 3 cents to 12. How about max level Rift Watchers? So $3.91 up to $12.65. And then next your epics, which are the Archons, 20 cents to 74 cents. And then max level Archons, $9 to $19.80. And then finally the legendaries, 89 cents to $7.38 for Inevitable. Max level 9.15 for Mortius, up to 120 for Agor Longtail. All right, let's look now at the golds. So gold cards start at 21 cents up to $1 for Septic Slime. And then your max gold commons, there's only 9 different ones ranging from $11.11 to $35. The rares start gold foil at 75 cents up to $8.78 for Queen of Crows. Oh, thank you, Our Faded Glory. I will look at that after the vid. Okay, epics, 4.80 to 22. And then max level, 49.18 to 88.11. Oh, he's sending me lots of cards. Thank you very much. Yeah, I was on his, talking with him on his stream earlier today, and I said, any cards will be gladly welcome because I'm burning more cards for Glint. Okay, gold legendaries. There you can see there's the 3 max level. Looking at all level for gold legendaries, $30 up to $86. All right, so that's it for Rift Watchers. Well, I usually do foundations last, but let's just do it since we're right here. So regular foil, we'll just kind of go right down the list. Of course, all these cards were in part 1. So 1 cent for the common. Then all the way to the most expensive, of course, is the Scale Weaver, and that's down to $1.19. For gold foil, 1 to 2 cents for gold foil. All the way to, oh man, you are a legend, thank you. All the way to $6 for the Scale Weaver. I believe it was $8 earlier today. And that's how quickly the market can move. Okay, so now let's look at the Black Arcane. So the cheapest one is the Miner for $3.40. Just beautiful cards. I know they max at silver level, but still the artwork in the background is just amazing. So the most expensive one is the Saltwater Mage at $888.88, along with Little Sister. And let's see, gold variant. So Gold Arcane start at just under $9, all the way to $450. And then finally the Black Arcane. Man, I'm going to be up all night burning cards for Cinder and crafting more cards. All right, $14.99 is the cheapest Black Arcane, up to $300 for the Vengeful Monk. So that is it for Foundations. Next is Rebellion. So let's look at Core Rebellion. So we've got 2 cents up to $2 for the Magician. Not really sure if people are really using max level Rebellion for land, but just out of curiosity. $7.60 is the cheapest, up to $1.16 for Zedica. Yeah, I don't think we're going to look at max level for these. I think the main one was Chaos Legion and older sets. Okay, so the rares start 8-9 cents, go up to $1.41. Rekla, it's surprising to see this card is the most expensive over like Moxie and Rebel, and the Soothsayer too, another great card. Epics, 20 cents for the Hatchling, to $4.99 for the Scion. Yeah, this is a great card. And then finally your legendary cards start at $1.10, up to $54 for Rage. And I'm like, oh, this must be a multiple BCX card. And there is a multiple BCX, but I believe there's also a couple individual cards that were listed. Yeah, there's 2 individual cards listed at 54. You know, definitely don't buy those. You know, for the same price, you can get a level 3. So only $9 per card. So per card, it looks like it should be around 10 is the cheapest. But yeah, there are individual cards that make that price look kind of out of whack at 54. And then of course we went through all these in part 1. This has also changed since part 1. Earlier, Lorcas was above Tofu. I think Tofu was at $32 and change. Now the cheapest Tofu is back to $42. Okay, now let's look at the gold versions. So the gold commons start at 33.40 cents, up to some of the Archons and key cards. So now you're looking at $16.74. Rares start at $1.12, up to $13.86 for Moxie and Rebel. Your epics, $4.68 for the Hatchling, up to $78.61 for Captain Fellblade. And then legendaries start at $22, up to $197 for Venka the Vile. Okay, let's look now. Promo cards we went through in part 1. So I'll just show the regular foil and then the gold foil, so you guys can kind of look to see how many are on the market. Prices are available in part 1. So there are your regular foils. Okay, so there is a Manaroth. There was one at $14.50. So now there's one at $17, and then the cheapest one after that is $39. But there's a multiple copy for $12 per. Yep, so definitely check out the prices first. Okay, so these are the regular foils. Now for your gold. These are the gold foils. You will notice too, a lot of the legendaries are missing. There's only 4 legendary gold promos. Okay, then the reward cards. Still got to figure out what I'm going to do with all my common reward cards. So 4 to 6 cents for that. Rares 13 to 24. Epics 85 cents to $1.20. And legendaries 313 to 424. And your gold foils 56 cents to 99 cents. 246 to 410 for the rares. $17.99 to $27.99 for the epics, and then no legendaries. Okay, we're getting there, guys. Conclave Arcana. So the core set, 2 cents. Look at this, the 36 cents for the Caravan Guard. Wow, was there a buyout of him? Dandelion's got the cheapest at 36 cents. I know it's a great card, but yeah, definitely a buyout there. I was going to say, usually it should be about 8 cents. Okay, so there are the commons. Rares, 8-9 cents is the floor. Archon's still holding right around $1 for most of them. So Kavor's at 72, Gorgug's at 66 cents. The other one's still above $1. Your epics, 42 cents, up to 88. And then finally the legendaries, $2.50 for Desolation, up to $12 for Loving the Moo. Okay. Gold commons, 30 cents. Up to, there we go, 30 cents up to 93 cents. Your rares start at $1.47 up to, let's see what the summoners are, Archons. So $4.30 up to $13.37. Your epics start at $6.16 up to $11.50. And then finally the gold legendaries start at $40 for Filthy Scavenger, up to $109 for the Arrow Bait. All right, so now for the different foil versions. So your black foil cards start at $69 for the commons, up to $99. Your rares, $150 to $500. Your epics, there's only 2. And your legendaries, there are 3. Okay, let's go next to the gold variant. So Gold Arcane commons, 50 to 150. Rares, 79 and 85. No epics. And no legendaries. And then the Black Arcane, this is it for the entire list. Only 3 commons. All right, what is next? Promo cards. So promo cards we went through in part 1. So I'll let you see the mint numbers. These are how many are currently on the marketplace. So prices are in part 1. What do we have next? Extra. So we've got the jackpot cards. We've got the lucky long shot. Oh, this is one I have to add to the Market Watch part 1. Luckiest long shot, 31 cents. Oh, I wonder how we're going to be able to get the different versions, different foil types. So here are the jackpot cards. There has actually been some of the gold arcanes pulled, as you can see. And then the reward cards. So regular commons, 2 to 3 cents. The rares, 8 to 16 cents. The epics, 45 cents to $1.10. And the legendaries, 287 to 578. Gold foil, 40 to 50 cents for the commons. $1.19 to $4.50 for the rare. $5.85 to $30 for the epic. and then $55 to $100 for a gold legendary reward card. Okay, Black Arcane, or Black Foil I should say, $33 to $85 for the commons. The rares $89 to $299.90. No epics, Black Foil. And then legendary Black Foil, there are 4 cards available. Okay, Gold Arcane commons, there are 6 of them ranging $29 to $40. The rares $39.40 to $14.50. Once again, no epics. And then 2 legendaries, one for $2.50 and one for $25.01. And then finally your Black Foil Arcane. So your entire list. So the commons, there are 6, $69.99 to $223. Your rares, $199.99 to $500. Your epic, there's 1 for $1,200 and a legendary for $2,500. Okay, so that is it, except for one final thing. The new addition this week, the land cards, which are only available currently in the regular foil version. So we've got the common at $1.80, the rare at $4.28, the epic at $12.50, and the legendary Undying Miner at $87.50. So that is it, guys. That is it for the Market Watch for December 7th, 2025. So you can see the main shakeup this week has been in Chaos Legion. All the cheap Chaos cards, max level under $3, are gone. A lot of the gold foils also have been drying up off the market. If you watch part 1, you could see that there was also, what was it, over 100,000 packs that disappeared from Chaos Legion over the last week. They're currently, let me see, I think there's just under 100,000 packs still at 27 cents a piece. I know I bought a couple hundred earlier today for a pack opening video. So for quite a while, it looks like we're going to be able to buy Chaos Legion for 27 cents. Okay, so we're just down under 99,000 packs. So still, plenty of packs for everybody if you guys are interested in getting cheap cards for Cinder. Okay, guys, there you have it. That's the Market Watch. So hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're having fun and got the land cards that you wanted. There are some available on the market still, so if those are prices that you think are good, definitely grab a few. And until next time, stay the course, keep on burning, and have fun. Take care, guys.